John Butchergoss, John Anderson, welcome back to SportsCenter. Nets Big Three playing basketball for the first time together. All three in uniform, taking on the Cavaliers, where Kyrie won a championship. You go right to overtime. Cleveland, competitive, but looks like they're in tough shape. They're down 3. They need a 3. And Sexton gets it to the side of Irving, who was on his right side, but you're so afraid to foul there. He ties the game. Durant could have won. It looked like that brushed the backboard and misses. So we go to double overtime, and it was all Sexton in the double overtime. Kid had a monster game. 16 of 29 from the floor. 5 of 11 from 3. He had 42 points in 38 minutes. The Big Three go down. Malika Andrews reports.
John, this isn't the end result that the Brooklyn Nets wanted. Steve Nash said after the game that at times the group looked, quote, a little lost, but he said that that was natural because this is the first time that they have played together. So there's a lot of material for them to go over in film sessions tomorrow. But Kyrie Irving seemed genuinely happy to finally be back on the floor with his teammates.
And always playing the game that I love, I'm grateful. So I never take it for granted. And then also to be, playing with Kevin Durant, James Harden, just those names alone right now, just like we're having some fun, but it's not just about us. And I always say that, we'll have good nights, we'll have great nights, but it's how we galvanize this group together and how we sacrifice and compromise for the greater good, and that still remains to be seen. Obviously, one game's out the way, but I'm excited for what's to come.
Now, the Nets still have pieces to fold in here. Kyrie Irving played a career-high 48 minutes and 22 seconds, while Kevin Durant and James Harden both played over 50 minutes, while Landry Shamet, who was brought in to be a key piece of this Nets bench, didn't play at all. But overall, Kevin Durant said it felt right to finally be out there with the two other All-Stars. It felt perfect, he said. It felt like, quote, we belonged out there together.
Tim Legler with us on SportsCenter for a level-headed look at the KD, Kyrie, Harden triumvirate. We're not going to get all panicky because they were not triumphant here, Tim, but we got two parts. So let's start with where are the trouble spots, or kind of what caused the trouble when these three were on the floor?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, John, I think there's just such a reliance on individual shot making that it's a tough way to win on a night-to-night basis, despite the fact that this might be the greatest offensive trio we've ever seen put together. It's still a tough way to go about your business night to night. So when push came to shove in this, if you broke down their offense, you're going to see a whole lot of that. Guys taking turns. And I thought that that's a mistake, because if you just incorporate any sort of ball movement where the ball can change sides of the floor, and a couple of those guys get opportunities to touch it on the same possession once the defense is shifted, I just think it's going to be much easier to operate, and you're going to get more efficient shots. These guys are great enough that they can get back in the game the way they did in the fourth quarter by making shots. But I think they can make it easier on themselves if they can get that ball movement a little bit better, player movement a little bit better. And also, I think Kevin Durant is a guy that in those spots late, when it's a one-possession situation, he has to be involved somehow in the offense. And you saw that he wasn't there at the end of regulation when Harden took that step-back three, and Kevin Durant's just standing there on the wing. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me when you talk about a guy with the stature of Kevin Durant.
All right, so yeah, those they combined for 96 points. That seems like plenty. What is it that you like, and what is it that works with these three cats?
Well, one of the things that obviously works is, first, there's no team in the league that can guarantee at all times you've got one of the best offensive players on the floor for the entire game. So let's just start with that. They always have an elite guy, at least one, most of the time two of those guys out there that you can just create all kinds of problems for defensively. And there were times in this one when you could just see the presence of that second or third superstar, how easy it made the game for guys to get to the rim, for guys to come up and get some early offense for themselves, because there's so much attention that's going to be paid to other parts of the floor. So there are opportunities that they're going to get to take advantage of defenses that are going to be a little more porous than what they saw individually when they were star players on teams, and you could load up on those guys. Much harder to load up when you have that kind of talent on the floor. So I did see some situations like that where the mere presence of those guys helped facilitate individual opportunities.
Real quick, can they guard well enough with those three guys?
No, they're not a very good defensive team. They weren't initially. I don't think their defensive principles are really there yet. And it was really a problem tonight. When DeAndre Jordan's off the floor, this team is so small. They get pounded in the paint. They get pounded on the offensive glass. They gave up 64 points in the paint to this team, and they're not even at full strength. So that is going to be a major problem, John. I don't see this team grinding out wins on nights when their guys don't make shots. Look at tonight, 96 between the three of them, a triple-double for James Harden, and they still lost the game. So they've got to tighten up that end of the floor, take it a little bit more seriously, put themselves in better positions where they don't have to be spectacular down the stretch. That's absolutely the point of emphasis with this team, is to get better defensively and be more accountable to each other.
And we should point out, actually, the Cavaliers played a really nice game as well. Tim Legler, thanks. They get a mulligan. Same two again in Cleveland Friday night.
Hawks beat the Pistons in Detroit 3 weeks.
In this game is what I understand. Beginning of the game, we're scoreless. That's how they most all of them start. Doncic spins at the rim, gets that, but now look, he got a little hitch in the giddy up running back. Going to go over to the sideline. Trainers, doctors, look at that. We have some sort of an owie because he stayed in the game, but now we're dishing more. Wow, rifles and beauty there. Laser to the zinger. Kristaps Porzingis. No looking, that's easy money right there. A couple of possessions later, Doncic again. I mean, he's a tall dude, Zinger, down there, just in the paint, hanging out, doing nothing, getting buckets. 13 first half points. Doncic, 6 assists. Let's do it again. Alley-oop up top, take it off the roof. Mavs only down 1 there. Nice chemistry between those two cats. Jalen Brunson, Zinger, hits the 3. So Carlisle's club's up 72-70. Now it's a 9-point lead. Doncic, Tim Hardaway Jr. Got you Doncic with a triple-double again. 13 points, 11 assists, 12 rebounds. Not gaudy numbers, but double digits in all those. Hardaway drives to the rim. He had 19. Zinger, 27 and 13. The Mavs win at 124-112 after a bit of a slow start. Put up a bunch of points. Luka's 30th career triple-double. He's the 3rd player to record 30 or more triple-doubles within his first 3 seasons in NBA history. This is mostly going to be the list he's with the rest of his career. Oscar Robertson, Magic Johnson. Look at the Big O, 87. Kids, he was terrific.